I interview a lot of attorneys, and I always like to. It's always interesting to find out how they got in what you're doing. Now, you mentioned that you were doing. Usually, attorneys wind up doing whatever they come out of law school. They do, whatever their first job is. Seems like that's what they do for the rest of their career. But that wasn't your path. So I'm curious to how
Yeah.
you got into that. I know you say, well, that's what you chose to do, and I know you can kind of choose whatever you want to do, as most attorneys can, right? You could focus your practice on anything you like. But what was it that brought you into family law? What was that attraction?
That's a good question. And I think a lot of people in whatever profession they're in kind of look back and go, how did I get to be where I am? And sometimes it's hard to track that. I do have to say, when I got out of law school, I went to a big law firm, and I thought maybe that was my path. I went to a very good law school. I went to a law firm that was very well regarded. But I realized, Steve, that as I was representing businesses and insurance companies, it didn't make me feel good. Denying coverage to people who paid money for
Hmm.
their premiums didn't get me out of bed in the morning. And believe me, when you're working 10 to 12 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week for a large law firm, which was par for the course back in the 1980s, you really need to like what you're doing and believe in what you're doing, because although, yes, I went to law school to make money and to support myself and to have a stable life for myself, I really, really wanted to help people. I wanted to help the underdog. I wanted to make sure that people who couldn't afford things could access the law, and to help people through their problems. I just feel like I'm a compassionate person. I'm a middle child. And so when my career evolved, representing criminal defendants, representing business people, I found that the family law practice was a way that I could use my compassion, my common sense, my emotional intelligence, and try to get people to resolve problems amicably. Again, that doesn't always happen. And when it doesn't happen, I'm ready to put on my hat, run into court, and be a very aggressive, experienced litigator, because I've tried cases all over the country. So, but that's not the first option in family law. And I like that approach. I like being a facilitator and a negotiator rather than someone who's always screaming and yelling in court and trying to win everything.
I want to point this out to you because I think that a lot of people. I know it's kind of that lawyers help people, but obviously that's what many lawyers do. Not obviously not all lawyers, but that's really what reminds me of the show. Christmas Carol, or not Christmas, but whatever. The only fun in law is helping people, right? And if you can't, as you mentioned, you can make a lot of money, but if you're not helping people and it's not fulfilling, it's just about money then. And law can be so much more than that.
Well, it can, and you can make money. You
Yeah,
can
well,
make money
I understand.
practicing law and helping people. They're not mutually exclusive. And I do think, though, that,
Yeah.
again, when I'm nice to people and I listen to people and I try to understand people and I try to really, really do what I think of my clients as my family and my friends,
Yeah.
even though they're not. I try to treat them as I would treat somebody who I really, really care about in that sense. And so when I go home at the end of the day, I mean, I've been practicing for 35 years, and money is money. But when I go home at the end of the day, I feel good.
Yeah.
I may not have won everything. I may not have gotten everything for all of my clients, but I know I've tried really hard, and I know I've helped them, and I know I've held their hand, and I know I've guided them without regard for my well-being or anyone
Yeah.
else's well-being. And I know I've also kept in mind the children's interests, because I have to sometimes remind clients, this is not about you fighting your spouse. This is about you making sure your kids are productive, wonderful, well-adjusted, happy children.
Exactly.
And keep your eye on that ball and make decisions accordingly. So at the end of the day, I feel good about what I've done.
Well, tell us how we can contact you, Karen, if someone's looking for a family lawyer.
Best way is always email for me, and the easiest one is WGN at askkarenconti.com. That's